Hi everyone, I'm Victoria and Spencer-Kibble from Vast Therapy, and I help professionals to cope with grief and sadness so they can feel happy again. And certainly what I find a lot of the time with grief is there comes this guilt. Now this guilt is about several different things, and we need to talk to our children about this guilt as well, but around their losses. So the biggest thing about guilt is that when 9/11 actually happened, the Queen said, grief is the price that we pay for love. And she was so right, because out of grief, there always comes that love, that expansion of love. And if there was no love there in the first place, we wouldn't grieve. So that phrase itself, grief is the price we pay for grief is the price we pay for love, is absolutely true. First of all, when we're feeling guilty, we feel guilty that they're gone. So we have to accept that loss. That again with our children around as well, just acceptance is a really hard, it's one of the stages of grief, and it's really hard one to accept, especially around children. Talk about it. You definitely need to talk about the lost one, and the memories and the isms and everything else, just so the children understand that this person is no longer coming back. The next point is that could we really have prevented anything? Could we have really have done anything to not have it happen? The answer is no. No, things happen. For me, I could have gone on the trip and I didn't. There was a sense of guilt there. There was a sense of guilt that had I have gone on the trip, what would I have seen? Then there's the sense of the next one is what we say, our last words to that person, not getting to say goodbye if it's a sudden death, or saying goodbye for too long a time if it's not a sudden death. But for me in that instant, it was that I know the last words to each other were "I love you," which I take great solace in knowing that those were the last words that we said to each other. And the real answer with guilt around grief is forgiveness. And that's forgiveness for the person who's passed, because you will get that anger with grief's guilt. And also forgiveness for you, for feeling guilty for being here still. So those are my 4 things: is accept the loss. Could we really have done anything? Regrets of what we're not saying or not saying goodbye, or saying too long a goodbye. And the real answer to guilt, number 4, is forgiveness. And remember, like the Queen said in 9/11, that out of grief is the price that we pay for love. Absolutely, because if there wasn't love there in the first place, we wouldn't grieve. So that's my top 4 tips for today. And remember, people, remember the love that you gave and you received. Expand on that love from this moment going forward as well, along with children if you have those children. And remember, inspire to achieve and achieve to inspire. And I'm Victoria and Spencer-Kibble from Vast Therapy, and I'm wishing you a good night.